So one of you was recently asking me about hair growth. So experiencing hair loss, particularly around the hairline here, which is very common. That's the most common area that we usually lose our hair first because that hair is very, very fine and very fragile. So I thought rather than just answering her, I'd make a video so that I could share it with all of you. So there's quite a few things here to consider when we're talking about hair loss. First off, the very first thing is you have to look at your general health. So when was the last time you did blood work? Certain things can cause hair loss. Like, for example, I have a thyroid issue, and when my thyroid was not where it should be or it was unbalanced, I had quite a bit of hair loss. So now that it's under control with medication, I don't experience hair loss from that. Also iron. Iron is huge when it comes to hair growth. And even if your iron is still within the normal range, but it's on the low end, you still don't have enough iron in your system to promote hair growth. So iron is very, very important. So if you have not checked your iron levels recently and are experiencing hair loss, I strongly recommend that you do. And then obviously, like, postpartum, if you just had a baby, extreme stress, of course. So managing your stress, which I know it can sound annoying when people say that, but I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and they talk about managing your stress and completing the cycle. So making sure that you are doing some sort of self-care or activity or something that promotes endorphins in your day, and because life is stressful. So even if it's 10 minutes of a walk or 10 minutes of pampering yourself with a hair mask, that all counts as managing stress. Next thing is products. So things to avoid using. Obviously, I'm going to say cheap products. Sorry, I'm going to be blunt. Cheap products that are full of silicones. They are layering up on your scalp, and they are literally suffocating the follicle of your hair. If your follicle, so the root of your hair that's in your scalp, if it cannot breathe, it's not going to grow. If all that silicone and cheap product is just creating buildup, that can create a major issue for sure. I think that's the only thing I would say in terms of don't use for when it comes to hair growth or things to avoid. And then when it comes to what you should use, so I have a few things. I've mentioned before, I have the Revitalize line from Goldwell. It's their Carasilk line. So it's more specific to scalp care. So we have the nourishing, and then we have the redensifying. The redensifying is to keep the scalp in a healthy position to promote hair growth. It does not claim to grow your hair. No product can actually claim that because there's too many variables when it comes to hair growth. Like I said, general health, stress, all these things, right? So they do not claim to grow hair, but it definitely creates a optimal environment on your scalp to help with hair growth or help support hair growth. We'll say that. And then we also have a spray serum, which is also the redensifying. Again, they don't claim to grow hair, but it just creates a more favorable environment for hair growth. Now, the one thing that I have started using recently, and I've kind of been waiting to share it with you guys because it takes some time to see the results of it. Some of you have maybe seen on social media, scalps are getting a lot of attention, and rosemary has actually been trending because rosemary is really great for hair growth. So again, I'm just full disclosure, I'm going to say right now, I will not promise anything I recommend to grow your hair, because if you use this product but your iron's low, or you have thyroid issues, or you have anything, your stress is not controlled or whatever, if all these things are not in play or not favorable, then putting an oil on your scalp isn't going to do anything for you. Okay, so we need everything to be in a favorable position. So this hair oil, I will do a separate video to talk more about it because it's specific, but basically it's a topical oil that you apply to your scalp a couple times a week before you wash your hair. You really want to massage it and work it into the scalp, and within 3 months, because that's typically like the cycle of hair growth, about 3 months, you should start to see some improvement. I have seen a little bit of improvement because I was getting a little bit thin around the front here. But again, it's only been like 2 months. And to be honest, I haven't been that good about regularly doing it because you do kind of have to plan it. So there's that. The other thing you can do is, I keep meaning to order one for myself so I can show it in a video. If any of you don't know what I'm talking about, just reach out to me and I'll like send you a link to Amazon, because you can just get them on Amazon. A shampoo brush. I prefer like the silicone ones to the plastic ones because I feel like the plastic ones would scratch the scalp too much. So I would go for more of like a silicone one, but honestly, those would be fantastic because another major factor for hair growth is stimulating the scalp. So yes, when you shampoo, even just you doing this is stimulating the scalp, and it's absolutely helpful. But that shampoo brush is like a circular brush with all the, I don't know, we would call it like little nubs on it. And you can just do this to shampoo your hair, and you really, I think you'd get better coverage of your entire scalp with that to really help promote hair growth. And then this oil that I mentioned, when you apply that, you also, same thing, you really want to, like when I do it, I usually do it before I'm going to watch TV, sit there and like literally just massage it in as much as you can, because that massaging, that stimulation is going to help work it into the scalp and help promote hair growth. So I think that was pretty much it. Oh, one other thing, particularly with it being winter, I do recommend wearing a hat when you're out in the cold, absolutely, because you do want to protect your scalp from the extreme cold, but you should not be wearing a hat too often, because again, if you're just constantly wearing a hat all the time, you're just suffocating your scalp. Your scalp needs to breathe. Same with going to bed with wet hair. It almost like lays like a sheet on your head. It's a little more suffocating when your hair is kind of wet and heavy, and then you're laying on a pillow, and it's not favorable. So if you don't want to blow dry your hair before you go to bed, I just recommend that you give it a quick power dry just to dry the roots. That's like, you're really just wanting to dry the roots, and try and avoid going to bed with wet hair. Same with like it being tied back in a ponytail, because that again is going to, like, again, you're closing everything in, right? You're bringing everything in tight in a ponytail or a braid. If you have to do a ponytail to sleep with or a braid, because that's what you're comfortable with, just try and keep it loose, so that, you know, we can keep this open and breathing as much as possible. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This is a long video anyways, but hair growth is a huge conversation. Like, there's a lot to consider. I probably missed a few things here too that I could possibly add to it later on. But I do have, like I said, I'll be telling more about the oil, and then I also have something else that's coming in January that I'm going to be sharing with you guys that is very a special experience just for your scalp. So stay tuned for that, and good luck.